Greetings, you fantastic human beings who watch me so attentively. Today, I am going to discuss a topic that I thought I was alone at, but it turns out that it's a trauma that a lot of people suffer, but at different degrees. And it is growing up without many friends. Some 11 to 12 years ago, I was in elementary school. I was a kid, and I do miss some aspects of those days, but I am glad that they are over as well. I guess I could do a separate discussion about, the things that you wish wouldn't change while you are a kid versus being an adult, yada yada. But, anyways, I had two classmates I was kind of close to. They lived in my neighborhood, and what made us draw close together was our love for video games, but particularly the video games that we played on the Super Game Boy. You remember that? That little console handheld before these smartphone things came out and ruined everybody's childhoods and kept us from going outside and meeting people and challenging them to virtual games. Well, they became my best friends too, because we didn't have anybody outside of us three who we would just chill with. We would do homework together. One time we went and had dinner together with our parents and all that. It was actually part of a group activity. We were celebrating that we were also very smart, and therefore we were like topping the class of fifth graders. Weird system, but anyway. And then we stopped talking after I moved very, very far away, like across the ocean, far away. I'm not friends with anyone I went to middle school with either. I did have a few folks who I considered to be close to, but for whatever reason, we just became distant. Everyone had their lives together, given that they had family and relatives, and I was also kind of like the weird one because my interests varied a little. I was that one kid who was into video games. I was really smart, therefore I did not need to spend a lot of time studying except to learn English a little better. But even that didn't take me that long. After the first year and a half, I didn't need to consult a dictionary. And that was a huge accomplishment because I have always wanted to dominate the English language, given that all of the games were in that language format, and it was just cool. I loved the way it sounded. But now that I've learned it, I see a lot of things that I have a conflict with, and I'm like, this language can generate so much confusion, but I'll discuss that at a later time. I only had my mother and my brother to pretty much rely on. My brother moved out when I finished middle school and he finished high school. So I was starting high school and I was just by myself with my mother and the few folks who I knew in middle school who decided to go to the same high school that I went to. I was like, that is fantastic because high school is like a whole world. It's like a castle that you're starting to get to know. And it was pretty daunting. They also had a scheduling system that was kind of weird because depending on which course you had, that would determine your lunchtime. And then toward the end of my high school years, they changed it to where it depended on which building you were at. Something like that. And I was like, well, that's confusing. But anyway, I don't keep in touch with anyone from high school. I used to, but I don't know what happened. I guess everybody's lives became so focused on the next chapter, which was college or maintaining kids, because some people have had kids, that, it's okay. I didn't expect to keep in touch with, the whole yearbook, but it's just weird how it happens. It's like you spend so many years alongside these people, and all of a sudden you wake up one morning and it's all gone, and you have to restart and create your own group of people and all of that. I only keep in touch with one guy who I actually never even had a class with, but he used to go to the same high school I went to, but then he moved out of state, but then he came back to graduate, and then I was a year ahead of him, so it's not like we were graduating together, So it's weird how someone who was not there directly ended up, being more present in my life than the folks who I would regularly see and supposedly ensure that our relationship would be cool, But anyway, everybody has their lives sorted out pretty much. They're either going to college or finishing up college or adding an extra 2 more years to get like a master's or a doctorate, whatever people are doing these days. And other folks are having kids and getting married. And I am jealous on the aspect of getting married. I don't know. It's just one of those things that I guess I yearn to have a family so much because mine wasn't very successful, or the one that I was brought into, that I have hopes that I can initiate a relationship in family that works the way it's supposed to, which I believe is centralized on support, staying together, encouraging each other, and just loving each other. And I have such immense desire to experience that. So if it cannot be provided to me, I am going to create it. So all you guys out there, I'm taking this seriously. So I hope that you are too, because if you can't handle the idea of getting married and having a family that's close-knit, you shouldn't try to get in relationships. Please don't waste women's time who are serious about it, okay? That shouldn't be too much to ask for. Anyways, I never had anything definite that I wanted to do or be. Like, I remember when I was in elementary school, I said I wanted to be a teacher only because my mom was a teacher and I saw how fantastic she was. She will certainly transform your mind. She teaches, out of vocation. Like, she was born to teach. So I felt like, given my talents, I could follow her footsteps. But things are a little different because she grew up in a different time period, and now school is not what it used to be. And that is currently the challenge that I'm experiencing. But at any rate, after that, I expressed immense interest in being a flight attendant. Why didn't flight attending work for me? Because I thought about, I'm one of those people who likes to be certain. I like to be secure. That job doesn't really offer that, because one day you may be in the country, another day you might be in a different continent, and you wouldn't even know at what time you're going to get back home or when you're going to back home. And I just said that to me, it's a big deal to have a family. Imagine if I get involved in that career. I would have to sacrifice them, and that is not negotiable. Additionally, I don't like the idea of being all over the place like dirt. I like my home. I love having a place to crash at. I would have to spend many nights in hotels and all that, and that does not sound appealing. You don't have the same privacy, the same space, personal time that your sweet home grants. So, yeah. And then everybody who knows me knows that I am super passionate about the sciences, particularly the natural sciences, geology and meteorology. Why am I not messing with that? Well, one simple reason, really. which is the idea of showing up somewhere and messing with complex mathematical functions does not appeal to me, because when I was in school, I was average in math. I was not too good, but I was not too bad. And I honestly would not enjoy to have to mess with that a lot. Working with numbers stresses me out. So that wouldn't be too pleasant. And it's a field that's very demanding mentally. Therefore, you can expect to spend a grand deal of time in school. And honestly, after 13 years of being in school, I'm done with school. I'm ready to get hands on. I'm ready to work and make money. Even if it's a modest quantity, I'm just ready to get going. As a student, you have so many limitations unless you happen to be uber privileged. But that is not my case. So forget that. And then I just didn't know people who were gamers at my school either. That's really what would make me get close to someone. If you were into games, I'm definitely going to be into you. But anyways, I ended up having a new friend from another school. Actually, I discussed this guy earlier. He became sort of my boyfriend, but he lived too far away and we had to break up due to rough circumstances. And it was strange because I was never thinking about dating like that. I had no idea what dating would be, but then I look back and I'm like, I was 15 years old. 15. Well, it started when I was 14, ended when I was 16, but I'm like, your mentality is so different, because for me, the way I am, I was expecting too much out of this person. And they were only teens just like me. And, how can we make it work? Some people succeed at it. We just couldn't. And anyways, then I had another boyfriend and I realized I messed up. This is really the guy who I was talking about, who went to my school, but we didn't have classes together. I unfortunately couldn't see him as a boyfriend. He became just more unstable when he decided that he wanted to do stuff like go into the military and all that, which I have nothing against it. But it's just that my father did that and it really messed up our family. And I realized that I can't handle that type of thing. So before things got worse, I was like, all right, bruh, let's just call it off. It's rough. I mean, I'm really bored now that I'm older, because it's like, yeah, I don't have anybody from my teen years that I can go back to and be like, hey, do you remember when we did this and that? I was really sheltered. And it wasn't that I didn't have the mediums to go out. I just didn't know that many people. And I just wasn't good about approaching people either. It was either they approached me and I was invited, or I wouldn't do anything, because I lived in this constant irrational fear that I don't regret it, because it kept me safe. But at the same time, I'm an adult now and I still have those struggles. But I mean, it's up to me. I can change it, and I'm working on changing it. So friendships feel weird since I haven't had a group to hang out with and experience what friends just do. And honestly, it's a scary spot to be in, because things that you would expect that I just naturally know about having friends, I just don't. I'm clueless. So anyway, that's all I have to say for now. But yeah, growing up without many friends, it can either be a blessing or it can be a curse. In my case, it was 50-50. It was a blessing because it kept me out of trouble. I was a good student. I got my work done. I didn't make any enemies that I have to worry about. And basically, I don't owe anyone anything. But at the same time, I missed out on how to create long-lasting relationships, how to express myself, and having that self-confidence of having people around you who know about you and are willing to spend time with you. But at any rate, everything will get better, and I'm sure that if I didn't have it during those years, it's probably because it was not convenient for me. So yeah, that's all I have to say. And how about you guys? What were your experiences like? Thank you so much for watching, and see you soon.